Good night and welcome to another review of The Shield Dude in the Couch. I'm your host Hector, and tonight we're gonna talk about the new album by the band Drug Church. The album is called Hygiene, and I gotta say this is a band that I'm not too familiar with. I just discovered them, I think like last year or something and ago. But this album, it piqued my interest when I heard the singles, and I said I want to listen to it. It has that punk, like alternative 90s kind of like energy to it. So anything that has that type of energy is something that I will gravitate to. So Church album Hygiene is an album that's 10 songs and it's like 26 minutes in length. So it's a super short album, but it's an album that grabs your attention from the beginning to end and never lets go. Every song when it ends, the other one starts super quickly and you have no time to get bored with it because it's an album that it goes fast the whole time, and there's not a lot of room for breathing in between songs. But I must say it's a pretty catchy and enjoyable album, and the album is very dark, especially lyrically. There's a lot of lyrics here that I was reading the lyrics obviously before I could review it, and I'm like whoa. There's a song like Million Miles of Fun, which is one of the lead singles that they had, and the song musically is very catchy, very upbeat. There were some parts of it that reminded me a little bit about the Killers, not as commercial as the Killers, but like some of the vocal delivery. But the song is about being oversaturated by the news and being constantly fed so many things in the news. So there's a line in the song that says you need news less. So yeah, it's very potent lyric, and the way that they sing it, you couldn't find out that it's about such deep subject matter. It's like, for example, I could talk about like a Third Eye Blind song when they did Semi-Shared Kind of Life, which was so upbeat and it was about doing crystal meth, something like that. And there's more songs here that you think like they're super dark. Like for example, the opening track of the album, Fun Sober, it's a very upbeat punk track. It's not very long, it's like 1 minute and 45, but it basically talks about there's lines about people coughing blood and dying, and it's super heavy lyrics that really accompany this type of song. So the song is very short, and then it goes quickly into Supersaturated, and Supersaturated is another song that is driven by very crunchy guitars and very punkish alternative delivery, and it's a pretty good song. A song that I thought that really stood out, especially the beginning of the song, was Detective Lieutenant, because the opening track with the bass and the tone of the song really sounds like 80s The Cure, and then it goes into more punk, it goes a little bit faster. But Detective Lieutenant, the subject matter of the song is about everyone feeling like they're a cop. Everyone is in everyone else's business, and everyone thinks that what their opinion is the right opinion. So it's pretty interesting lyrically, as also musically and sonically. Then the album has a few songs that are more like straight punk, more alternative sounding 90s, like the song Tiresome and Peace and Quiet, which are pure like punk rock energy, and they're so fast that they never let up, and they're kind of short. And I think this album, for the benefit, the short songs work for the album because you never get bored, because I think like the longest song is like no longer than 4 minutes, and I think the longest song on the album is the album closer, which is Athlete on a Bench, and this is one of my favorite songs on the album. So Athlete on a Bench, the subject matter of this song is about a guy who hasn't had sex in a long time, and he's like reminiscing of like women that he used to sleep with back in the day, and looking at women with his laptop at night and burning his fights because he's looking at so much porn. and it's when I heard Athlete on Bench, I'm like, I wonder what it's about. So there's a line in this song that is talking about, you know, like all that he has is the masturbation, and it's really about like being someone that's out of the game. That's why he's on the bench, and I think it's kind of pathetic, but you know, very catchy number, and I think it's one of the best songs and a great way to finish an album. So did I like every song on the album? I think that the problem with this album is that maybe there's some songs that go into each other and you don't realize that another song started, because it's so quick, the transition, that you're thinking that you're listening to a same song, but it's in fact a different song. And there's some songs that blend in together and there's not much of a difference. So that was sort of like maybe something like a little nitpick of something that I might have not liked about the album. But overall, I think Drug Church-Hygiene is it's a very catchy and fun album with some deep lyrics. I was really impressed with some of the lyrics on this album, because like I had to read over them to really get a sense of what the songs are about. But at the end of the day, I think if you like punk, a little bit of hardcore, and that style of like straight guitars, like crunchy and you know raw, even though there's some raw parts, but there's some parts with more clean and toned down, I think this will be an album that you will enjoy. So what did you think about Drug Church-Hygiene? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Comment, let's talk about it. What were your favorite tracks? And if you like the content that I'm putting out, give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield Dude in the Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.